what's going on in the FDA. And I just would like to kind of get your perspective and maybe some things that you might have picked up, as far as uh, sort of the feeling and the prevailing attitude on how things are playing out there right now with respect to McCrary and Dr. Panay and all that that encompasses.
You may maybe another reason to consider active management in the space.
Right.
So for the past 9 months or so, we've seen a lot of turnover at the FDA. It's been well publicized. I think initially we didn't really see much impact out of it. We're all expecting, I think, to see an immediate impact, and we would see that in delays of clinical trials, maybe changes of opinions versus what we were expecting. And I would say broadly throughout 2025, we didn't really see that. This was, however, a topic in the vast majority of our biotech meetings here at JP Morgan. And I would say the tone has changed slightly. Anna will weigh in on this after, certainly. But I think there's a little bit more uncertainty than there was before. We do see some timeline delays now, or earlier in 2025, we hadn't really seen those yet. Typically, these are 3-month delays, not, devastating for our companies. And investors, I think, are understanding that there are challenges at the FDA, and a 3-month delay as a result of personnel issues or the staff not being able to turn around quickly enough in the timeline isn't the end of the world. It's absorbable. We're not seeing huge negative moves for the most part on these delays. So I think from that perspective, everything's fine. What we're very mindful of is turnover at the FDA and how new personnel coming into different seats may have a different opinion than their predecessor. And we've seen that in a couple of companies that we've been looking at, a couple in the portfolio even, where maybe someone who's a division head and who had gave this company a very defined pathway to here's the trial we need, here's the package we need, submitted, and then you should be set up well for your new drug approval. That person's now gone, and they've been replaced by someone else who maybe has a different opinion, maybe
Hmm.
interprets the rules differently, and all of a sudden there's added risk to your investment. So that's a question we're now asking pretty much every one of our portfolio holdings who has a drug in development or is filing an NDA. Has there been turnover? Where's the turnover been? Do you have any agreements in place that we should be aware of that are now at risk?
Good.
Anna?
I think Ryan covered almost all of it. I would just add the one thing that's new this year was the national priority review process. So that was a super expedited process, 3 months or shorter for drugs or devices that fall into this category of a national priority. So this is new this year. And what we have seen is that those have had a very tough time of turning around that quickly. So, I mean, in addition to the regular applications, which have been extended by 3 months, across the board, multiple programs which have fallen into this NPV category have been delayed. And so it does seem like the FDA is kind of at its max capacity for processing, just to read through. So who knows what that'll turn into? There's still a national priority, so maybe they still get some special treatment, but it's not going to be a 3-month turnaround.
What